Easter Bunny coming soon. Today, children everywhere are making preparations for an event of world-shaking significance. The annual visit of the Easter Bunny, who will be riding into town on his now famous steam engine Easter Sunday morning at dawn. Informed sources report that legions of junior citizens are straightening their bonnets, shining up their shoes, and making monumental vows not to peek when the bunny hides the eggs. Meanwhile,
you are under my power. Look into the hypnotic eye.
You're not dreaming. You're watching Cinema Insomnia.
We are the survivors of a disintegrated solar system.
Tell this to everybody wherever they are. Watch the sky everywhere. Keep looking. Keep watching the sky.
Flying saucers have invaded our planet. Please assume the position to repeat after Mr. Lobo.
You see? Your stupid mind. Stupid.
You're not dreaming. You're watching Cinema Insomnia.
Tonight's feature is hippity-hopping your way in Easterama and Bunny-O-Vision. That's right. Saint Mr. Cottontail is steam driving that Bunny Express all the way from Easter Island to bring presents to all the good little Christian boys and girls. Sorry, Miss Mittens. I bet you feel pretty stupid right about now, not celebrating. I'm your movie host, Saint Mr. Lobo. One of the principal holidays, or feasts, of the one true religion, sorry again, Miss Mittens. As you know, Easter marks the second birthday of Jesus, which, what was that, Miss Mittens? Why would anybody celebrate that? No, that's not what the crosses are for. No, look, I think second birthday sounds much nicer. For many Christian churches, Easter is the joyful end of the season of fasting and penitence called Lent. Mr. Lobo gave up borrowing for Lent. Anyway, in tonight's episode, two of Jesus' favorite disciples, El Santo and the Easter Bunny, team up to fight evildoers and non-believers with the Holy Scriptures. When Santo's sleigh gets stuck in Florida, he tells a group of kids the story of Thumbelina or Jack and the Beanstalk, depending on the print. Santo's sleigh? Get ready for a family-friendly, God-fearing good time with Santa Claus and the Ice Cream Bunny in Bunny-O-Vision. What did I just read?
Of all places for Santa to be in his sleigh, stuck in the sand, thousands of miles from the North Pole, way down in Florida. And without his reindeer, because they were so hot, they took off to the North Pole. What a predicament. Especially the long beard and the red velvet suit and the white fur. That's a lot of heavy clothing to be worn on a beach in Florida. And Santa was mighty uncomfortable because the sun in Florida was certainly a lot hotter than any sun at the North Pole.
Hola, St. Mr. Lobo. What seems to be the problem, my successful friend?
St. Santos, we're in a bit of a pickle. This movie has nothing to do with Easter at all.
It is a psychotronic classic, Santa Claus meets the ice cream bunny. It's even the more rare version featuring Jack and the Beanstalk instead of Thumbelina. You, my friend, will need to get very high or drunk in order to appreciate this film properly.
Look, Santos, you keep Easter in your own way and let me keep it in mine.
God bless you, my friend. I wish I could help you, but I have a hungry family waiting, and I've got to go check on the ham.
All right. Happy Easter, St. Santos. Well, Miss Mittens, that doesn't fix up our cocked-up movie situation. Santos and I, we were in the old All Saints Squadron together with Santa Claus, and I just thought, with all that history behind us, for old time's sake, he could fix our problem. But I guess it's not his fault that Mr. Lobo thought he was in the movie with the Easter Bunny somehow. Only a bona fide Easter miracle could save us now. What movies do you watch on Jewish Easter? What did you call me? I hope that's Yiddish for cool dude. All right, well, we'll just put our differences aside, okay, and pray for a movie, because we're in dire straits. Sorry, Insomniacs. No movie. Not a single one appropriate for our Easter special. I guess just talk amongst yourselves. I mean, if you can think of an Easter movie that we can show free and clear without paying a royalty, just give Mr. Lobo a call on the hotline. Until then, I guess just kill some time, catch up on some reading. What's this? Old magazine. I misprint. Hold on. Look! I can't believe this. Free! Inside this issue of Total Movie Magazine, a DVD of the movie Species. I mean, this may be that miracle we've been praying for, Miss Mittens. Of course it's a Easter movie. I mean, eggs, aliens, aliens, eggs. Okay, ova, eggs, eggs, ova. I mean, isn't Easter originally about fertility? Fertility symbols? Mating rituals? DNA from space? I mean, if you think about it, Species is the perfect Easter movie. All right, Insomniacs, looks like the heavens have smiled on us and provided a newer kind of movie. A DVD-vine intervention. I mean, if the DVD comes free in this magazine, surely that means we can show it without paying a royalty, right? Don't besmirch this gift from God, Miss Meshuggah. Just go with it. Thanks, Easter Bunny. Bok, bok. Put that on for me. From the dark, unclenched regions of the 1990s, a search for intelligent life comes up empty-handed. However, a transmission detailing an alien DNA structure, along with instructions on how to splice it with human DNA, results in a sexy space gal named Syl, a silent but deadly creature who can change instantly from a slinky, beautiful woman to an armor-plated killing machine from Whammo. Government agent ex-professor Xavier Fitch assembles a team of scientists and mercenaries to seek out this life form and destroy her before she manages to mate with a mate and make space babies. Hands above the covers, it's time for Cinema Insomnia to present another excellent astronauty creature feature this side of creature for Easter. Species.
He sees you. He hears you. He has seen and heard your sins.
Lord
your
Jesus,
endless, shameless sins.
Are you there, God? Why don't you answer
me? And he is coming back.
Why don't you give me a sign?
Yeah, even today.
Tell me what
he may walk among us unrecognized.
Let me know you care.
Remember ye the words of the Lord.
Lord, Jesus, let me see through this.
Not your internet, which is marred with the sign of the beast. Not your graphic music video. Not your porn, which murdered the unborn. As much as he loves the truth, will he destroy?
Oh, ye who are gathered here in the darkness, do you imagine that you are here to witness naught but an hour of flickering fictions? Do you imagine that your lives are not in jeopardy at this very moment? This is the empty house of your soul. Its foundations are built on your childhood, and climbing a lifetime, you may never reach its top floor. Can you smell the air within? Dry and musty with long neglect. If you would see the story that is about to unfold, be warned. It is nothing less than that which lies within these walls, and within each and every one of you. Are you prepared to take up residence? If you are, then enter. But do not make the decision lightly, for you will not be alone walking these creaking floors. Remember the words of our Savior when he spake in Matthew 28:20. And behold, I am with you all of the days, until the completion of the age.
Where have all our lesbians gone?
Alban! Father Alban! It's happened again, Father Alban.
These women are as sheep in the midst of wolves, Father Eustace. I cannot bear to read another of these headlines.
We can no longer stand idly by and allow these children of God to be slain by these agents of the devil. We alone have been entrusted with the knowledge of a power, a man who can stop this unholy plague. You know of whom I speak.
You mean?
Loose lips, Albert.
Forgive me.
Of course. But you understand your responsibilities.
Since I first entered the Order, I knew this day would come.
Good. Arrangements have already been made. In fact...
Oi is right, Miss Mittens. This isn't Species. First of all, seems a bit low budget. You got Rob Zombie's angry uncle as a Bible-thumping wannabe horror host in the bushes, a bunch of Canadian punk rock priests riding Honda scooters. Jesus Christ, Vampire Hunter? Well, how would you know that? Well, you know, Mr. Lobo never reads the credits. Oh, sorry, Insomniacs. We're going to try to sort all this out. You know, the Lord works in mysterious ways, eh? Cinema Insomnia. We'll be right back.
You're looking at a very unusual kind of egg from Cadbury that's only around till Easter. Its shell is pure, rich Cadbury milk chocolate. But look, inside sits a sweet, creamy yellow yolk surrounded by delicious white filling. Cream eggs from Cadbury. Why, they're the best thing to come along since the Easter Bunny. And when he's gone, they're gone.
In January, a message from an extraterrestrial source was picked up at the Parkes Observatory in Australia. A new sequence of DNA, friendly instructions on how to combine it with ours.
Its growth is amazing.
It's breaking out! She escaped. We have a serious emergency on our hands.
You created a monster, now you want us to kill it.
We decided to make it female so that it would be more docile and controllable.
More docile and controllable, huh? I guess you guys don't get out much.
She's here! Get out of there! Open the damn door! Hey!
Oh, God.
Welcome back to the Great White North, eh? Tonight's topic is vampires. And what in the holy hell are we watching? Apparently, there was a mix-up with our free movie from Total Movie Magazine. Our computator, Abacus, reports that back in the 2000s, each month you got a free DVD. And in this particular issue, some of the readers accidentally got Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter instead of Species, which was a major headache for the publishers, not to mention anybody who watched it. Of course, we picked up one of the defective copies. Miss Mittens and I should play the lottery. Actually, jokes aside, this may thematically be a bit more apropos, to borrow a term from our French-Canadian friends, than Species or Santa Claus and the Ice Cream Bunny as an Easter picture. Third time's the charm, they say. He is the reason for the season, after all. Oh, the doorbell. Hold on 1 second. Jeepers. Give me a minute. Hold your horses. Almost ready. Keep your pants on. I'm coming. All right. Here we go. Come on in. Now here comes our grab dash curbside drop off delivery gal with our Easter dinner and other goodies. Just put that anywhere. Don't I recognize you from somewhere? You look familiar.
Yes, we've met several times.
You know, it's hard to tell with the mask on. Do you work at the Whole Foods?
Yes, and the Starbucks, and the record store, and I perform at the Playhouse down the street.
Well, I hope you're being careful out there. Did you know that there are day-walking vampires that are killing all the thespians?
Well, I wouldn't worry about vampires. Did you say thespians?
You're one of them, right?
No vampire of any kind. Never have been. No.
No, not a vampire. Female actor? Actrix? I'm not sure the lady term.
Eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog, adder's fork and blindworm's sting, lizard's leg and howlet's wing, for a charm of powerful trouble, like a hell broth boil and bubble.
Whew, well, I guess you're safe. Thank God. Well, I can see that you're clearly not an actress, but would you mind helping us with the oath anyway?
No, I have other orders to deliver.
Do you want your tip or not? Insomniacs, tonight's feature is badly dubbed, clearly Canadian, shot on 16mm film, on a budget of 25 gallons of maple syrup, is completely blasphemous, has sloppy kung fu and absurd continuity, and just might challenge your faith.
And depicts vampires in a negative light.
I must ask you all now, as I have in the past, to take the Insomniac oath. Please assume the position and repeat after Mr. Lobo. I, as an initiated member of the Sleepless Nights of Insomnia, do solemnly swear to watch the movie, the whole movie, and nothing but the movie, so help me, Mr. Lobo, Jesus. Let me stand out. I think I got glitter in my eye. And now, back to tonight's Easter creature feature, taken from the Holy Bible's expanded universe. Jesus Christ! Vampire Hunter in Bunny-O-Vision.
Lemonade?
Will there be enough?
Oh, there'll be plenty.
I thirst for nothing but justice for the fallen sheep of our flock.
Tell me what the problem is.
You see, my lord, you are the only one who can stem the spread of this contagion. If these leeches prevail, the faithful need no longer fear going to hell.
For hell will come to us.
I'm here to build a kingdom, Alvin. My father's kingdom. I cannot rush to the battlements before the foundations are laid, or else the walls will surely collapse.
Body of Christ? Alvin, Avelino, go bless the lake, quickly!
Revelation! Here I am at my destination. It's to stop this exsanguination. Got to halt this abomination. I'm out on the street now, I'm out on the town. So many people just hanging around. Hey, everyone, here is your chance to do right. Step out of the tunnel and into the light. We'd love to stand by you. No, really, we would. A chance to stand up right. And just really can help you. We're already beat. Society moves us who could be a cheat. My job isn't great, I've got no job at all. Oh, I can't find true love. And you're not very tall. You got me standing us up for a wall. You say that you're wounded. To that I say fine. If you show me yours, then I'll show you mine. Back to Hades.
Jesus, this movie is rotting my brain. Can brawls on the beach with goth girls be explained? Jesus finds a barber and cuts off his beard. I know he's had piercings before, but it's weird. He then sings an off-Broadway number off-key. A Sunday school pageant in suburban streets. Is there no relief from this silly attack? Cinema Insomnia will be right back.
Like you, I love to thrash, but even a hardcore skate punk like myself slams once in a while. Have you been injured, or are you planning to be injured in a skateboard or a skateboard-related accident?
Dude, I was so fucked up, I was tripping balls.
Even if you were fucked up or tripping on balls, I can help. I'm Rad Abrams, skateboard attorney.
Dude, that judge was sweating me, man. He was hating on me for getting all naked in his courtroom. But my boy Rad Abrams hooked up with $12, plus he hooked me up with the oxys.
That's right. I'll even get you pills. I'm not here to judge you. That's the court's job. At Rad Abrams and Associates, we know the law. More importantly, we know how to help you break it. Let Rad Abrams hook you up.
Don't delay. Call Rad Abrams and Associates today. Look for our ad in Pressure Magazine.
Follow me on Instagram. Peace out, bitches.
Jesus! You've started to believe the things they say of you. You really do believe this talk of God is true. My temple should be a house of prayer. But you have made it a den of thieves. Don't you get me wrong? 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 Only wanna know. Only wanna know. Only wanna know. I only wanna know. Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ. Who are you? What have you sacrificed?
The Easter Bunny has brought some Easter candies for us. Thanks, Easter Bunny. Bark, bark. It never gets old. Oh boy, I mean, what a full basket brimming with all sorts of sad, dumb-looking animals. Geez, look at this. Look at this here. We got a A happy hippo. Boy, he doesn't look happy. That hippo's seen some things. And then we've got oh boy, a derpy duck and a dirty hippie. Fantastic. What's next here on the agenda? Oh, there's some candy bars here. You've got whatchamacallit and a whoozy what's it. Yeah, that's not concerning when you can't be specific about what it is, right? I want to put that in my mouth. All right, moving on. Let's see here. Nobody's favorite candy as an egg. You just make them an egg. Suddenly, it's a favorite. Oh, sorry, Mr. Bunny. Oh, I know you want these, right? Now, it says marshmallow chicks and rabbits, but it's really just those horrid circus peanuts. You want these, though, right? Okay, all right, here, you can just take those back. Oh, and while you're at it, take back Super Wheels, because I certainly don't want that. Have I been bad this year? Is that what you're trying to tell, Mr. Lobo? Oh, all right, there you go. Back to your hole. This is the double bubble eggs. See, again, you just take a bad candy, shape it like an egg. They can only sell these like once a year. Same with this. You blow up your head with warheads. Can you imagine giving this to a small child? Here's this thing that's so sour that you want to die. Okay. Oh, look at this. Lip pops. I'm going to see what that looks like. If I can get in here. Quite simply. Oh no. Oh no, this is like at an all-night subterranean rave. I'd have this in my mouth. Really weird, right? Did this come from Adam and Eve? Save that for later. And then, of course, the Tootsie Roll eggs. Again, take a bad candy, make it an egg. Oh no. Oh no. Boy, some scatological humor for your children. Funny Bunny walks and poops. It's disgusting. Oh, you think that's funny? Okay, well you can play with this rabbit's poop. Because I'm not gonna. Put a merciful end to this right now. This is a jelly bean gun. What kind of thing is this for your kid? You just like, Happy Easter. All right, almost done with this. Cottontails, white cheddar balls. Can you imagine thinking you're going to get a sweet and then suddenly you get a mouthful of cheese? Well, you might like that too, wouldn't you? Okay, all right, Easter Bunny. We'll save these for you too. And last but not least, Fred Flintstone? What are you doing, Fred? I mean, Jesus won't be born for another 1,000,000 years. What are you even celebrating? Do you even know? So Fred Flintstone with his Fruity Pebbles Easter Bunny. So bizarre. You know, this does lend credence to the idea that the Flintstones are really a post-apocalypse story, right? They're living on the surface world like Morlocks while the Jetsons are living it up after the atomic wars of the late 90s or whatever. Oh boy. And speaking of sweets for the soul, it's now time to return to tonight's feature, Jesus Christ, Vampire Hunter.
Father Eustace, I presume. church maintains this apartment for visiting clergy members and parishioners in need. You can stay here as long as necessary.
I've slept in worse places.
I'm quite busy with my clerical duties, but it will be good to know where you are. Now, you must be hungry after your long trip. Speaking of which, where are Albane and Avellino?
I'm afraid we have much to discuss, Eustace.
My only consolation is in knowing that Fathers Avellino and Albin are now in a better place. They were not the first to fall, my lord. Both these pictures were taken at a singles dance that the church held last year. This is John Golem. He worked for a local television station and produced public service announcements for the church's charity work. A good soul. He was the first member of my congregation to disappear. Miriam Schreider, a successful concert promoter, but she still took time out to volunteer in our soup kitchens and at the food bank. People came as much for her smile as for the food. She's been missing for nearly 8 months now.
This is the woman that attacked me at the beach. She killed Avellino and Albin.
I feared as much. There have been rumors. I didn't want to believe at first, but every Sunday I see fewer and fewer faces in the pews. I fear my parish is being consumed, body and soul.
There have been more disappearances?
Many. As recently as last night. Young women mostly. The church has been unwilling to act on this matter because of the lifestyle of these women.
The church should learn to leave judgment to higher powers.
Do you suppose that the disappearance of these ladies of Sappho is somehow connected to the fact that these vampires can walk in the daylight? That is what you must find out, my lord. This case requires the attention of one from whom the truth cannot be hidden. Here. It's yours anyways. It's from the collection plate. The church can wait a couple of weeks for a new TV.
I'll need to buy some wood for steaks.
Hello, Jesus. You don't know us because we've never talked to you before. We are the Atheists.
Look, Jesus, we're taking your second coming as down. Consider this the 13th station of the cross.
Let's get on with the conversions.
Real enough for you?
You ever notice that whenever steaks are mentioned, Countess Bloodsugar just takes off? She must be a vegetarian. Vegetarian vampire. Is that why you don't want to be left alone with her? Anyway, Miss Mittens and I were talking about this last scene and how much it reminds us of The Matrix Reloaded. Instead of a never-ending army of Agent Smith clones fighting Keanu Reeves, it's a never-ending clown car of atheists versus Jesus. And 5 years earlier, Mr. Lobo tried being an atheist for a time, but and I thought, God must really hate atheists. So now Mr. Lobo just believes in everything, just in case, just like Elvis. And speaking of TCB, here's something we can all believe in. Thank you very much.
The King.
Should have used Energizer. They keep going and going and going and going.
Every generation, an ancient gateway opens that links the Earth with another world. But this time, the ultimate evil has been released. fate of our planet is about to be decided.
Brother, you're alive. Too bad you will die.
Sonia, Kitana, Jax, Jade, Sub-Zero, Scorpion, Cyrax, Smoke, Shiva, Motaro. Fight. Last time they fought for their lives. This time, they're fighting for ours. Excellent.
Mr. Lobo is opening more presents from the Easter Bunny. This one's got a card. Was this money? Oh no. Give Christ charge of your life. Clever. Dear Mr. Lobo, I know you have your supercomputer abacus for number crunching, but here is a portable laptop word processor unit that you can take anywhere. Maybe now you can put more work into your jokes. Your friend, St. Peter Cottontail. All right, let's check this out. Huh. You know, maybe Mr. Lobo will take this contraption for a walk and do one more draft of tonight's script. Ah, look, here it is. And now, a funky strut down the street in discount sneakers to show that even though the Messiah's got Sunday morning fever, he's staying alive. Needs a little work. Disco Fries meets Poutine in Reel 4, Jesus Christ, Vampire Hunter. Still not very good. At least you still got the robe.
I'm on your side, Rabbi. See? No thanks.
Sorry, I'm a little tense.
I've got just what you need. Feeling a little bit more relaxed now, Rabbi?
I'm fine.
Here, let me help.
How'd you find me?
Well, Every night before I go to bed, I get down on my knees and ask for direction. But I was here in other business.
Vampires.
The Archdiocese doesn't have a monopoly on faith, Rabbi. The branch of the church to which I belong has been operating discreetly for quite a while. The position of women in the church hasn't always been so horizontal.
I remember.
Our research indicates that authentic vampirism is actually what we've come to term a quantum infection, acting sometimes as the virus, other times as the bacterium, still other times as a fungal infestation, which may explain the pallor of the afflicted individual, depending on the observer. Even under strict lab conditions, it's impossible to batch test vampire tissue samples. The results are just too chaotic. We suspect that the vampire's vulnerability to light has something to do with the fact that light exists as both a particle and a wave, again depending on the observer. You follow?
I understand light.
I came to the city to see this man. He's been doing fascinating work with grafting and church pathology. I think that if we find him, he might be able to hand us a big piece of the puzzle.
Let's go then.
Walking around in this thing, it's not exactly inconspicuous. You might as well be wearing a halo. I think we should get you some new clothes. Something a little more urban.
But I have nothing to hide.
Maybe not, but you sure have a lot to show. Jesus!
Hey, can I try this on?
In the back, my blue-eyed soul brother. Like I said, in the back.
Thanks.
Jesus, what do you think? They're salt and pepper shakers. I collect them.
Oh, they're grand.
Here, let me help. Up, up. Okay. Up, up. Up. Gorgeous.
I need to see Johnny. Where's he at?
What? Lay up.
Give me a boost.
There's a new player in town. I need to tell Johnny. Where's he at?
I don't know. I think he's doing the TCB down at the hospital.
I'll go check. If he comes back, tell him I was here.
Come on, Mary.
Hold up. A lousy nickel? That shirt's worth a Sawski if it's worth a subway token.
All right, I'll give you 6.
6? That won't even buy me a pimp steak. Come on, put your weight on it.
7?
7? See, now you in the hood, but you way down the block.
8.50.
Wear it like you mean it.
How much?
For you, free as OJ.
First the beard, then the hair. Now he doesn't even have the robe. All those silly outfits. Western shirt, then a blue t-shirt. I like how Mary Magnum is like a foot taller and dresses him like a toddler. I hate when they mess with a character's iconic look for the sake of a cheap throwaway gag. Anyway, the Easter Bunny gave Mr. Lobo this portable computator for Easter, and I'm going to use it to research the film. I think that thrift store is in South Philly. I thought they were in Canada. Jeepers, it's dead. I think it might have been a bad idea to bring a laptop into a sauna. Maybe Jesus can bring her back to life. Cinema Insomnia will be right back after these revelations.
Coming or going on a business trip, you've got no time to waste. And nobody knows that better than Hertz. Whether it's picking up or dropping off your car, nobody has more to do it faster.
Getting you out with super speed. Hertz, the superstar in rent-a-car. Hertz, the superstar in rent-a-car.
You know it.
Today is Easter, and in this house, 7 people will die at the hands of a masked maniac. Meet Nicholas. He's a very special boy, and this is his favorite time of year. He's just wild about Easter. But something sinister is lurking just around the corner.
If it wasn't for her mongoloid son, I think I'd be smiling from ear to ear.
We need to calm the down. Everybody, calm the down. It's Easter, not Halloween.
And now it's time for another Trivia in Cinema. Can we vent about ventilation vents for a moment? There is a time-honored cliche. Huge ductwork in films. These enormous air shafts are sometimes big enough to have an entire action chase scene in, and they're hardly a breath of fresh air for us genre film fans. Obviously, light, visibility of actors are an issue, but why would you have giant ductwork over the crown jewels or your top secret meeting room? You can see ridiculously roomy air conditioning units in films like Jurassic Park, the Mission Impossible movies, the Alien movies, Phantom Menace, Resident Evil, Die Hard movies, Bad Santa, Ocean's 11, Willy's Wonderland, Dr. No, and on and on and on. And of course, tonight's easy, breezy, beautiful feature, Jesus Christ, HVAC Hunter.
If we're not back in 5 minutes, call the Pope.
Mary, I'm stuck.
Otherwise, the skins burst and the wine is poured out. Yes. But they put new wine into new skins, and both are preserved together. Those were the words of the Apostle Matthew, chapter 9, verse 17, to be exact. He brought these healing truths to the people in the only way available. Through the pseudoscience of religion. Oh, yeah. Men of science like myself, the apostles of the new millennium, can make his words flesh. Photosensitivity is a symptom of vampirism, yes, but it can be controlled. The skin grafted onto your body will provide you the immunity you need to walk in the daylight. The procedure is simple, and the anti-rejection drugs will leave you in a pleasantly euphoric state. It's important to nourish the new skin by ingesting massive amounts of human hemoglobin over the next few days. But that shouldn't be a problem now, should it?
Doc. Is Slice Open anyone interesting today? I know I did. You'll be wanting a new janitor, by the way.
Really, Mr. Golgotha? I must protest. This is a sterile environment.
Well, I didn't come to commit the sin of Onan, just to check in on our latest convert. How's she doing?
Still partially catatonic. She's still suffering the effects of post-mortem stress disorder.
Give me a call when you're done with her body work. Whoa, speaking of body work, hey Max, how'd you find me?
Followed the screams, Johnny, just like always. Can you zip me up? Listen, we need to talk.
How's about over lunch? I'm famished.
You're a glutton.
Wow. Who's that?
She's a vampire.
Oh, too bad.
I saw her kill 2 priests with my own eyes.
Mr. Golgotha, Miss Shrek, we're running low on skin. I suggest we harvest another lesbian.
30 minutes or it's free.
to play a game?
Sure.
Close your eyes. You're it.
I love what you're wearing.
Had enough?
And so endeth the story of our Lord, Jesus of Nascar, King of the Juice, Slayer of Draculars. He died for our sins on that rooftop on the Friday of Easter weekend at the start of the millennium. After lying there for 6 hours, he succumbed to his injuries and was buried in a Canadian cave. So it is written in the Book of Corinthian Pleather, Chapter 13, Foreclosures. Amen. Thank you for watching Cinema Insomnia's Easter Special. Another hour of this, really? But the story did not end there. Oh no, ye of little faith. Only our mortal short-sightedness would have us think that the story ends there. Oh no, nay. That was only the beginning. So in his honor, let us resurrect our snack bar segment with a holy sacrifice for your mouth, inspired by tonight's feature, Jesus Christ, Vampire Hunter. All you need is some thrifty iced cream. This is vanilla, of course, and black cherry. This, of course, will allow us to use our patented thrifty iced cream gun. This is the only ice cream scoop that requires a 20-day waiting period. Of course, you'll need all your standard iced cream condiments, whipped cream, nuts and cherry, chocolate syrup, etc. And most importantly, all that leftover Easter candy. Easter, of course, has some of the most terrible, cheapest, chalkiest, most teeth-jamming candy full of off-brand, mallow-filled, foil-wrapped, hollow milk chocolate, pastel-colored, forgettable basket fodder that's ever been pooped by a rabbit. Anyway, once you have all of these ingredients at hand, you're ready to make what Mr. Lobo calls an Easter sundae. The first thing you need to do is to moisten your patented iced cream gun and scoop some of this standard iced cream into this standard iced cream bowl, like so. Put your elbow into it. I like to set mine out for 2 weeks, get it nice and soft. Quite simply. Scoop number one, and quite simply, another one in there. Scoop number two. Let's get some of the black cherry. Now don't be shy with this ice cream. You want to be able to get a nice big foundation to plant all of your condiments on. Get a little more vanilla now. I don't know if we can get a parfait effect. No, probably not in a shallow bowl like this. But we can get a good representation of both the vanilla and the black cherry. Quite simply. There. Oh, I hate when that happens. Oh, I just wish I was stronger. I should have paid attention in gym class. So once you've got a nice, good-sized pile of ice cream, you're ready to put all of your iced cream condiments on there. You know, all the standard ones, your nuts, and your cherries, there. Some of these black cherries are nice. And then the pineapple stuff. I don't know, I never quite got the pineapple stuff. But then you can put, of course, some chocolate syrup. Well, actually, chocolatey syrup. We recommend Basso because there's a multitude of fishes in every bottle. Anyhow, you get your chocolatey syrup in there. And then, of course, you know, it's not unusual to put candy on a sundae. A lot of people put gummy bears and jimmies. And, you know, if you don't have maraschino cherries, you can get some cherry sours from the candy aisle. Put them in there. A couple of cherry sours, or you know, typical Jesus fish. You can get these at the movie theater. A little. Oh, well, that's not going to work. All right. And, you know, you could stop right there. But that would not be Mr. Lobo's Easter sundae. To make it an Easter sundae, you need to add that leftover Easter candy. And we're going to start it off with these robin eggs. not affiliated with DC Comics. They're made by the Whoppers people. And they're basically malted milk balls covered in a candy eggshell. It gives it that sort of chocolate malted crunch kind of flavor. You like that, right, Aaron?
Yeah, that's my jam.
That's Aaron's jam, is the chocolate malted crunch. I just wish I was stronger. Get in there. It's like a bag of chips. You just gotta put your whole heart into it. There we go. You put some of these malted milk balls in there, and that gives it kind of that flavor. But Mr. Lobo's favorite ice cream is Rocky Road. Rocky Road, of course, has marshmallows. We don't have standard marshmallows here, but we do have these marshmallow cheeps. Mr. Lobo likes to leave these little fellas out for a week or two, let them get nice and stale. And we'll put these little marshmallow chicks in there. Use some of the yellow ones. Equal opportunity employer here. And, you know, there you have it. You got a little marshmallow, you know. Now, marshmallow chicks produce eggs as well. They make marshmallow eggs. That's right. So let's see what kind of eggs they've got. I don't know how they get the chocolate on them. I'm not sure I want to know how the chocolate gets on the marshmallow chicks' eggs, but we'll put a few of those in there, like so. And now that we're in the egg territory, we've got a few, look at these big bad boys, a couple of gender-appropriate sports ball eggs. In our first gender-appropriate sports ball egg, this is the orange one. I think you kick it. Oh, there it is. Oh, that's about as, look at this. Jelly beans, huh? Jelly beans. That is about as traditional Easter as you are gonna get. Put some jelly beans on there, because everybody likes a chewy, cold dessert, right? Right. And you know, we're in traditional Easter candy country pretty deeply, but not as deep as the famous chocolate bunny. And this chocolate bunny is particularly famous. Grammy award-winning rapper Lil Crispy. You can see his grill right here. We're going to get up in here. This was actually an award from Mr. Lobo's Grammy. So get him in there, and we'll just break him up and put him in this. All bands break up eventually. So Mr. Lobo likes to keep the ears. I call them the Pope's nose. But we'll put the rest of them in here, like so. Here's a little crispy. All right. Now, chocolate bunnies produce eggs as well. Chocolate bunnies have chocolate eggs. And chocolate eggs are inside this chocolate sports ball. I'll open it up here. There they are. And just put those right on there. Now, I know what you're thinking. Is the foil going to feel weird on my teeth? No, because it's an ethnic delicacy. You could stop here also, but this is a holy day. This is Mr. Lobo's Easter Sunday, and we don't want to forget the reason for the season. So we're going to add some chocolate crosses. Get in here like this. I guess I should have read the card first. See if I can put that one in there like that. And then I guess I'll read this. Rejoice in the wonder of the day. Happy Easter. What a nice sentiment. Thank you, Easter Bunny. Bok, bok. Just put that one in there like that. Kind of like, there we go, like that. And we want this to be historically accurate, so we'll put the big one in the middle here. And there you have it, your Mr. Lobo's Easter Sundae. Are we done? We're not done yet. Oh no, no, no. We've got our whipped cream to add to this. You can't top a sundae without whipped cream. So we're going to head and put our, oh, we got to take this lid off first. And we'll just add the whipped cream to this. Like that. Okay. There it is. Quite simply. And now we already used our cherries, right? So I thought to top this sundae, we could just put one of these cranberry creamed eggs on top. But Mr. Lobo could never eat a whole cranberry creamed egg. Like, once that sugary splooge comes out, I'm about done. I think the opportunity cost of a cranberry creamed egg for Mr. Lobo is about half a cranberry creamed egg. So, you know, I have my half a cream egg from last year, so I'm going to go get that right now. Okay, just hold on one second. I'm sorry. Pardon me. All right, so here it is. This is my half a creamed egg from last year. It's still got a, you know, I should have wrapped it up better, but it's still good. It's still good. So it's about half. Ugh. Oh God. Ugh. You can see the sugary splooge there. So let's see if we could just put that on top. Maybe we can just kind of put a little bit of this here. There it is. There it is on top. On top. There it is. And Viola, you now have Mr. Lobo's Easter Sundae. Why don't you have a delicious religious experience right now during tonight's intermission?
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Delicious things to eat.
The popcorn can't be beat. The sparkling drinks are just dandy. The chocolate bars and the candy. So let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to show you the coming attraction for a motion picture called Smash Cut.
Allow me to introduce Abel Whitman.
Action! That guy makes Ed Wood look like Orson Welles.
My God, it's so fake. Abel, my boy, don't let the reviews get you down.
What are you? The good? The bad? No, the ugly.
I'm gonna kill you. And then I'm gonna cut up your body into little pieces and use them in my movie.
Action!
He's going to kill everyone! April Carson, WKY-TV.
Tell me you're here to audition.
Yeah, totally.
Here, use this.
What's that smell?
It's just a prop. It's only a prop. Cut! That's a print.
You should be in front of the camera more.
For those of you who appreciate this type of cinematic art, you will see the most startling scenes of their type ever filmed.
Taking the script out of your hands, Alan.
But for those of you with heart conditions, or who are with young and impressionable children, we ask that you turn around in your seat or leave the auditorium immediately.
We really have to show the people what filmmaking is all about, what real filmmaking, what the art of filmmaking is all about. We've got to snap them out of their complacency. We've got to show them the suffering and the hurt and the pain that goes into filmmaking.
I implore you, ladies and gentlemen, to never forget that filmmaking is a blood sport. Watch if you must, but remember, you were warned.
Who's putting this on again?
Whitman, Abel Whitman.
Jesus, I hope he makes a movie someday.
Countess Bloodsugar is looking almost alive in this officially licensed Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter Heroes sweatshirt.
This hoodie features a restored version of the original t-shirt design by Stephen Leger for the 2001 cult classic film, Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter. It has our heroes, Jesus, Santos, and Mary Magnum against a white cross with the title and catchphrase, "The power of Christ impales you."
Yes, and there's also a Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter Villains companion shirt design, not seen here, featuring Maxine Schreck, Johnny Golgotha, and Dr. Pretorius against a black cross.
Available as a hoodie, t-shirt, mug, mask, phone case, and more.
Get purified now and order your Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter merchandise at the Artist T Public Shop. Stephen, Legge?
That's Leger.
L-E-G-G-E is Leger?
Yes.
Cheapers, what will they think of next? Order yours today. Greetings, this is Mr. Lobo, and I am here with producer, editor, director, triple threat of tonight's film, Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter. Greetings, Lee. We were talking a lot about Star Wars before we went live here.
Yes, we shouldn't.
You know, it's kind of holy in its own way. It has definitely religious overtones.
Yeah, sure. I imagine, though, on the surface, what you're doing is the complete opposite of Disney Plus. So we shouldn't try to promote Disney Plus. No one should be watching anything on Netflix or Disney Plus. It's going to ruin cinema. It's going to ruin movie watching, right? Because I feel like the powers that be are now choosing what we watch. And it's getting harder and harder to find your own content to watch. You know, like the days of going to a video store and picking out something on the shelf, or going to a cinema and seeing whatever you wanted to see. Now it's kind of like everyone's watching the same movie.
Yeah, that's dangerous. A little bit dangerous. When we were growing up, there were the landscape was totally different. I mean, what made you want to make movies growing up?
That's a very good question. Thank you. Well, I have to blame my mother for the monstrosity you're about to watch. My mother plays the screaming lesbian in the film, who passed away almost 2 years ago. And I have a new film that I'm making right now, and it's dedicated to the screaming lesbian. So only fans of Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter will understand the dedication in front of my new movie that says, "For the screaming lesbian." My mother took me to see everything in the theater. For the first 5 years of my life, I lived in a city called St. Luc in Ontario, and there was no cinemas in St. Luc. When I moved to Ottawa when I was 5 years old, cinemas were. I felt like I was going to the circus every time I went to see a movie. It felt really special. I don't know if people feel special going to see movies these days, but to me, seeing a movie on the big screen was like being at the circus. Maybe because we have TVs in our houses now and movies are on TV all the time. Maybe it's not special anymore, but it was so nice to be able to get out to see a movie. I say to my kids sometimes, "Do you want to go see a movie tonight?" They say no. I'm like, what? I don't understand that answer. My mother every weekend took me to see stuff, and no matter what was playing, she'd take me regardless. You know, it started with Star Wars, but my mother took me to movies I shouldn't have seen when I was very young. I remember she took me to see Night of the Comet, that zombie film with cheerleaders, which I have a place in my heart for that movie because it was so badass of my mom to take me to see that movie. Seeing movies like House, William Catt, and it was just, she took me to see Time Bandits. Great Muppet Caper was one too, and Muppet movie. But she took me to see anything that was playing, and I love her for that. Rambo: First Blood Part 2, which was a big deal. That was a really exciting movie when I was a kid. Felt like I was on a roller coaster watching that movie. And I don't know, it wasn't until I was just thinking about this the other day. It wasn't until I was in grade 10. It was about 1988 when I started thinking about cinema as an art form. And I think maybe a lot of people still don't think of cinema as being an art form. But I remember I was in grade 10, I believe. My grade 10 drama teacher told me about two art house theaters in Ottawa. One was the Bytown Cinema, which just closed during the pandemic, unfortunately. And the other was the Mayfair Theater, which I now proudly co-own with some partners here in Ottawa. And I discovered not only art house theater, but seeing movies I was familiar with on the big screen for the first time. Movies, going to see movies like Taxi Driver, Raging Bull, Deer Hunter, The Godfather, over and over and over again. And seeing them on the big screen back then was really, really special because if you get familiar with movies like The Wild Bunch on VHS, seeing it on the big screen in widescreen is a totally different experience. You get twice the image. Now movies are released in widescreen with the black bars on the top and the bottom. But when I was a kid, pan and scan was a thing. And pan and scan is like the worst thing they ever did. It's like, the worst thing they ever did to movies. You put a very wide movie onto a square television, you lose half the image. So seeing movies on the big screen. I remember seeing Airplane at the Mayfair when I was young. My mother took me to see Airplane when it was released. But going, when I was young, I didn't, I didn't get a lot of the jokes. But being in high school, going back to see it, and I got very familiar with the film on VHS, but because the image was slightly wider, it's not a CinemaScope movie, but it was slightly wider. I was seeing jokes on the sides. That scene where they're on the beach and they're parodying the movie From Here to Eternity, and they're kissing on the beach. There was dead fish on the edge of the frame, which you didn't see on VHS. And I remember seeing it at the Mayfair and going, wow, look at that. There's more jokes now. And then eventually Laserdisc became a thing, and you got to see a wider image. But anyway, why did I start making movies? So when I discovered to myself that, it was an art form, and I started appreciating it as an art form, I thought, why not pursue that as a career decision? Like I thought of maybe, making my own films. And I afforded a video camera at a young age and started shooting on VHS tape. After university, taking film studies for 4 years, I fell in love with celluloid. I realized that the difference between what I was making at home on shitty VHS tape and what I was seeing on the big screen with movies like Airplane and Rambo or whatever it is, was the fact that it was being shot on celluloid. Back then, digital video was really low end, and you can never present it theatrically. So I gravitated to 16 millimeter and shot tonight's film, Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter, on 16 millimeter with a tiny little camera, tiny little wind-up Bolex camera. And to me, I felt like I was in the big leagues.
It looks great. There definitely is a difference between making a film digitally and making a movie on actual film. I kind of feel like Jesus Christ Vampire is sort of a time capsule of pre-digital filmmaking. I mean, if you were to make that movie today, would you make it differently?
I couldn't make that movie today. Not in Canada. I don't know what it's like in the United States, but so my film right after Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter, I made another feature film called Harry Knuckles and the Pearl Necklace, which sounds like a porno. It's not. And it was, we shot on, just like Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter, shot on 16 millimeter. And as far as I know, it's the last film shot, it was the last feature film finished to 16 millimeter in Canada. So I finished Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter to 16 millimeter. You could shoot on 16 millimeter right now. You could process the film to HD, but could you finish the 16? Could you finish to a 16 millimeter answer print? Is there labs in North America? I don't think there is. That will, is anyone doing neg cutting on 16 millimeter anymore? In Toronto, a lot of that stuff doesn't exist. A lot of the companies that was making those movies don't exist anymore. So I don't know if I could finish it. There's no reason to either. There would be no reason to finish on 16 millimeter anymore with the new digital technology. But I don't think I could. It really was at the edge. By when was it? Star Wars: Attack of the Clones was the first digital feature film released by a major motion picture studio, and it was the first DCP movie. I remember driving to Toronto to go see DCP, the movie projected in DCP, which now every film is DCP. So that was 2002. Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter was released in 2001. So yeah, right on the edge of that. And not a lot of people were finishing the 16 millimeter. There has been a few films shot on 16 millimeter, which I admired recently. Shortly after Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter, Hustle and Flow was shot on 16 millimeter, but not finished at 16. It was finished at 35, which I think is still possible. I think if you're going to 35, you can certainly finish, but finishing on 16 anymore isn't a thing. As far as I know, I know that I know a few people who still shoot on 16, but in Ottawa, but aren't finishing that way.
Well, I love the 16 millimeter look because I feel like it adds to the psychotronic kind of nature of the film. But, we were talking about so much about Star Wars while you were talking about, Lucas putting out the first DCP or digital film. George Lucas has opened a lot of cans of different worms technology-wise. Have you ever thought about going back and making any changes to the film you already made, a la George Lucas?
I do think about those things. Okay, so during the pandemic, I bought a puppy, and I go on lots of walks, and I think about the movie I'm making right now. I dwell on it all the time, and I think about the movies I've made in the past. And with Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter specifically, the one thing I want to change, I'm afraid to, because I think people would be upset. But when I watch the movie again, I can't watch the musical number. There's something about the musical number I can't watch. And I love musicals. I love musicals. I know what's wrong with it in my head. But so many people put a lot of work into it. And that's my crutch as a filmmaker. The worst thing about me, my biggest what's the crutch as a filmmaker is that when because I made that movie on my own, financed it myself, paid no one for their involvement. I didn't pay myself, but everyone in front of the camera, everyone behind the camera, no one got paid. We kind of made it like maybe bands get together on the weekends and make music. We got together on the weekends and made this silly movie. And when you're asking that many people to be involved with something, and they put their heart, blood, sweat, and tears into it, I can't cut that out. It would kill me to think that I would hurt someone's feelings, because I'm sure there's a lot of people involved who love that sequence. And actually, I know there are Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter fans who love that sequence. I just think the only reason I don't like it is that me as a filmmaker, I could have probably done a better musical number. But at the same time, I had a little camera. We had no permits to film. We were running around. It's a really good example of guerrilla filmmaking. We were running around filming on the streets of Ottawa, no permits. And, it makes you feel a little bit like Larry Cohen. Not as talented, but Larry Cohen to me is the best guerrilla filmmaker out there. Hell Up in Harlem is one of my favorite action movies, and the stuff they pulled off, shooting action in and around, LAX airport in Los Angeles and in Times Square in New York City. My God, it's a magnificent film. But that's the closest I can ever get to doing something Larry Cohen style. I always think the movie, for me, would be more enjoyable to watch on the big screen with an audience without that musical number, just because I can't help but judge myself. But everyone who involved did a good job in that scene.
Honestly, I think the flaws make that scene much funnier, I think, as far as the musical number goes. But I also kind of feel like at this point it's history. And it is kind of a dangerous thing to start tampering with your own history. And I certainly understand the situation where you've got a bunch of unpaid people helping you create your vision, and really their only payment is to see their work up on the screen and to point to something and say, I helped with this, I worked on that. That was their payment, you know?
Sorry, I think about that all the time. I would like to think, let's just say there's one of the dancers in the musical number. Let's say Gwen Douglas, who's in Smash Cut and a few other films I made in the Harry Knuckles, the Pearl Necklace. Let's just say I gave Gwen $1,000 to be in that musical number, to help me out. I would like to think more valuable than that $1,000 is that 20 years later, you and I are talking about a movie that she's in. You know, I think to me that's worth a lot more. I mean, I've made other films. I've made 7 feature films, and 4 of those movies no one's talking about. A year later, and here it is, 20 years, we're still talking about this movie. Like, to me, that's worth the weight of gold. And you know, and talking about the flaws, if you don't mind, there's. I think sometimes to get somewhere you have to, sort of earn a badge. And making Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter certainly was like going to war and earning a medal, maybe, because we were shooting on 16 millimeter. You know, I had the Ford film to put into a camera. Now the camera had no batteries, and no, we didn't plug it in. We wound it up, and then I cut the movie on a 16 millimeter Steenbeck. And we put in all the audio in later. And so I cut the audio on my 16 millimeter Steenbeck as well. And it was film strips, magnetic film strips. And I cut the audio literally by splicing into the magnetic strip and taping them together. And I think sometimes the audio wobbles a little bit and sound, and it does something to the visuals, because it was all on this machine that was turning, and a lot of that, not that the machine was malfunctioning, but you know, the speed of the machine trying to keep up with all. There was 4 layers of images, 6 layers of sound, you know, trying to mix it all together. You know, the end result is that you know, I felt like I was in the Vietnam War trying to make that movie, trying to finish that movie in a certain way. You know, I was on set with my new movie with Phil, who plays Jesus Christ Vampire, filming digitally, and we had 2 4K cameras pointed at the actors. And I looked over at Phil and I said, "Isn't this exciting, Phil? Look how great the image is." Or, Phil, do you miss the Bolex camera and shooting on 16? And he goes, "Yeah, I miss 16 millimeter." To me, that was way more exciting, because, you know, we shot for a minute. After about 5 minutes of filming, I'd have to open the camera underneath a blanket. He'd have to hold a blanket over me. I'd open the camera, put a new film in, and we didn't even know what we were getting. We were pointing at the camera and hoping the footage turned out. It would be months later before we found out anything worked. You know, in my new film, we're watching the footage right after we shot it. There's a comfort level there we didn't have in 1999 and 2000 when we shot this movie. And that uncomfortableness on set was, you know, in the end kind of exciting, because it all turned out, you know, in a way. I mean, Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter is, you know, like you said, it's got its problems, but it's in focus. You can see what's going on. That adrenaline, I think, is magical, you know, and I think that working without a net, right? You know, you get it or you don't get it. There is something special about that, and I don't know that modern audiences appreciate that kind of the amount of danger that was happening, you know, and that at any point that movie could have just fallen apart. But it's interesting that we're, with all of the talks about changes in audiences, changes in technology. Not one point did we talk necessarily about the content of the film and audiences, which with something as potentially explosive as Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter, it makes me
gives me pause to ask you, were you worried you were going to be criticized on one side or the other? You know, were gays and lesbians going to hate this movie? Were religious people going to dislike this movie? You know, I mean, will martial arts people hate this movie? I mean, you know, you've got a lot of people who could potentially be after your head making a movie like this. Were you worried about criticism?
Well, filming, sure, but it went away really quick. It went away. I mean, it took me 2 years. It took me 2 years to finish the movie, and you know, while I was shooting the movie, I was editing the movie, so it almost took 2 years to shoot. And yes, there was worry, but I would say after the first summer, there was no more worry because, well, let me address the gay community first of all. I don't know. I'm a Newfie, and the Newfies are Canadians from Newfoundland, and there's a lot of Newfie jokes, and the best Newfie jokes are told by Newfies, and they're made up by Newfies, and so Newfies have a great sense of humor, and they're very open-minded towards a sense of humor about their culture, and the gay community, in a way, is very similar. There's almost no way to offend a lot of my gay and lesbian friends in a certain respect if your heart's in the right place. So early on, while we were making this movie, and we're trying to think about the villains, and you know, the villains being the vampires, and what we wanted the vampires to be able to survive in the daylight. And an early idea we had is that cell phone technology was becoming a new thing, and there was around Ottawa they were erecting these cell phone towers, which are everywhere now, but they look strange in you know, the end of the 20th century. And I thought maybe we could shoot the finale at the base of one of these cell phone towers, as if the cell phone towers was what was allowing the vampires to survive during the daylight. Boring. Kind of a boring concept the more we thought about it. You know, we're selling a movie without any movie stars, so we need something in this movie that's really going to get people talking about our film. And here we are 20 years later still talking about it. So what's the most outrageous idea we could come up with? And I was a fan of Jess Franco. I still am a fan of Jess Franco, but Jess Franco was making a lot of interesting vampire movies that I was really gravitating towards. Movies like Female Vampire and Vampiros Lesbos. The idea of vampire lesbians was thrilling to me. So I thought, you know, I don't know who came up with the concept. I think it might have been my friend Mark, who said, you know, why don't they, you know, kill lesbians and take their skins, and somehow lesbian skin transplants could be what makes them survive during the daylight. And Ian, the writer, tried to scientifically write why that was a thing. And there's a scene in the sauna where she talks about hemoglobins and stuff, and you know, it's hilarious to me. And I thought, okay, let's go with that. Should we be afraid of offending any gays or lesbians? Of course we should be. Not afraid of offending them, but we should be we should be a little bit you know, be aware of how we're representing this community in our movie. And then you know, I think it was Ian who drew a comparison between the way lepers are the representation of the leper community in the New Testament. And you know that in the New Testament, if you had leprosy, you were shunned by the community. You were put aside. There was leper colonies, and you know, they were ostracized because no one wanted to. They were afraid if you were around a leper, you'd have leprosy. But Jesus stood up for lepers and cured them and picked them up by their hand and got on their side, and it was heroic in the New Testament. So Ian thought, who best represents maybe the leper community today? Not maybe best represents, but who could be our new lepers? and you know, it just sounds like a terrible thing to say about that community, but you know, Jesus could side with the gay and lesbian community, and really, you know, our whole message of the movie could be about, you know, about standing up for an ostracized community like they were, I think, in the 90s, in 1999, in 2000. Maybe not so much anymore. But in 99, you know, I had gay friends who had a hard time coming out of the closet and didn't have anyone standing up for them. And, you know, the idea that someone being from the gay and lesbian community could be, you know, could have a job and be an equal, you know, it was something you had to be open-minded about back then. I felt I certainly was. I remember my aunt was a lesbian. You know, I remember in the 70s, my dad told me about the community, and it always just seemed normal to me. And, you know, and thankfully, our film, it's one of my favorite things about the movie, actually, because when it came time to release the movie and go to film festivals, no better film festival in the world is that run by gay and lesbians. My best festival, or my best time at a festival, was the week I spent in San Francisco showing the film at the Castro Theater for a week. My God, what a dream come true. And showing there at the International Gay and Lesbian Film Festival, and thinking to myself, you know, telling myself that, you know, for the rest of your life as a filmmaker, you better have a big part of your movies having to deal with this community. And so we're making this new movie now, and I'm calling it a dragsploitation film. And you know, I feel like I'm making another, you know, I'm making another gay comedy. You know, a gay comedy coming from a straight man. Again, I'm very much like Larry Cohen. Larry Cohen made some of the best blaxploitation films, and I don't think anyone points the finger at Larry Cohen and says, "How dare you make black cinema? You're not black." You know, I hope no one points their finger at me, because it comes from a big place of love in my heart for that community. The way, you know, Larry Cohen's heart was on his sleeve for the black community. So the gay lesbian, the fear of offending them went away quickly, because we started involving a lot of people from the community. Actually, the transvestite in the movie, who saves Jesus in the street, his name is Jose Sanchez, and he was a film professor at Carleton University, and he ran the Gay and Lesbian Film Festival here in Ottawa. And so, you know, he was one of those things. He was one of those people in my life that made it seem okay. Where, you know, if Jose can read the script and be in the movie and play that part, then I feel comfortable telling the story. Jose probably was the one, actually, who made it feel comfortable.
Jesus, you look a mess. How did you know my name?
It's fun meeting people today, young people today, who are at Carleton and know Jose as their professor. And I tell them, you know, you can go on YouTube and watch Jose give a blowjob to Jesus Christ. You know, it's thrilling to be able to tell that to young students today. And then was, I mean, maybe the first concern was upsetting the Christian community, Catholic community. I was raised a Catholic, so, but I didn't go to church every Sunday. I'm like Homer, you know. I'm staying home if I find a lucky penny on the ground from church. But, you know, Jesus was a big part of, you know, big part of me growing up. And he still is everywhere. I mean, every second of the day, when you look at your watch or your phone and see the time, you know, that time is measured by the birth of Jesus Christ. Whether you're Christian and Jewish or whatever, you're an atheist, every second of your day is affected by the birth of Jesus Christ. So are we going to upset anyone from the Catholic community? And before we started shooting, we were location scouting. Ian and I went to a church, and we wanted to shoot on the steps of a church. That scene with Father Eustace and Father Alban near the opening in the first act of the movie. We wanted to shoot on this really nice staircase in Little Italy, and here in Ottawa. And we went to ask for permission. And it was the last time I asked anyone for permission to make this movie, because you ask anyone for permission, they'll just say no. If you look for a permit in the city, the police are going to say no to you. Just shoot your damn movie. Take a lesson from Larry Cohen and just go out and make your goddamn movie. We went to church, and we asked the Catholic priest if we can shoot our movie. He asked us, what is the name of your movie? And I said, Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter. And he invited us inside the church. And when he invited us into his office and sat us down and explained to us that the problem he had with us making our movie at his church. And he said that vampires are science fiction. It's in a realm of make-believe, wherein Jesus Christ is not to him. And he didn't feel comfortable with us combining science fiction and Jesus Christ. He felt that maybe people would look at Jesus the way they looked at vampires, and said a polite no to us. And we left. And I thought maybe for a moment there we were going to be in trouble. We went to a church and rented all the costuming for the priests in the movie. They'd asked us what we were doing. I said at that point I just started lying. I told people that we were making a play. I stopped telling people we were making a movie called Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter. But we were out in public, often with Phil dressed as Jesus, and priests who were, covered in blood, and people just thought it was neat. Maybe if I was making this movie in some places in the United States, it wouldn't go over so well. But in Canada, no one gave a damn. In Ottawa, it's a government town. People just thought it was neat we were making a movie. And so it stopped becoming a concern. And we actually had one of the coolest screenings we had of Jesus Christ. We were invited to Toronto to show Jesus to a theologian conference. And this theologian conference takes place once a year in a different city in the world. It took place in Toronto the year Jesus came out, and we showed it to tens of thousands of practicing Christians and atheists. The atheists were invited. Anyone could go to this conference, and became a grand discussion about Jesus and his place in history and beliefs, and it was wonderful. No one has ever told me, it's like, I kind of wanted that maybe a little bit. I thought it was heroic the way Martin Scorsese released The Last Temptation of Christ, to picketing, people protesting, people who had not seen the film, being so angry about the movie. Holy Grail, Monty Python's The Holy Grail, another film that upset so many Catholics. And it was just bad press was good press. If you'd seen the Holy, I'm a Catholic. Movies like Monty Python's The Holy Grail, The Last Temptation of Christ, Abel Ferrara's Bad Lieutenant speak more to me about being a Catholic than Ben-Hur or the Ten Commandments. And I kind of wanted that a little bit, we didn't get it at all.
So no picketing, no death threats is what you're telling me.
Unfortunately, no. Maybe it will come. Maybe they're coming.
You brushed briefly on your new project. It's a dragsploitation film, you said. Could you tell us a little bit about what's coming next?
The film is it's a drag queen kung fu action comedy horror entitled Enter the Drag Dragon, which is an ode to Sammo Hung's Enter the Fat Dragon.
Nice.
Instead of a fat man in a Bruce Lee movie, it's a drag queen. Imagine if Bruce Lee was a drag queen. I guess that's the best way to put it. So, this film is going to feel like Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter. When my first two feature films, Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter. Here's my biggest fan.
He's very excited.
Yes. Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter and Harry Knuckles and the Treasure of the Aztec Mummy. My first two feature films were financed by myself. And, I made those movies out of my own pocket, and I had dreams of making movies with other people's money. And I got to make 5 films exactly that way. I made 2 films in Mexico. I made 3 more films in Ottawa, and some of which I'm very proud of. But there was something missing from making those movies. My last film was shot in 14 days. And I didn't get to go to film festivals with it. I didn't get to release it. And 20 years later, no one's talking about it. I don't own those movies. And I feel like I've gone back to my roots. I didn't realize I was living the dream then. When I made Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter and Harry Knuckles, I was living the dream then. And I wish I could go back in time and slap myself and stop thinking about delusions of grandeur, to quote Han Solo. And so, hey girl. So I'm back to making a movie that I feel like this should have been my third feature film, Enter the Dragon. Although we're shooting now on 4K digital video, and it looks this is the best looking digital film I've ever made. It looks spectacular, and the color photography is great because the drag queens are dressing like, unbelievable. And I don't know, we're having so much fun making this movie. We're shooting on weekends with my friends. We're making it exactly the way we made Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter, and it feels right. Every time I show a scene from this movie to my wife, she thinks it's ridiculous. She thinks I'm out of my mind. She's offended by everything I'm showing her, which is making me feel really good. I feel like I'm in the right place making this movie.
Well, we all have delusions of grandeur, but ultimately, if you can spend every day doing something that's fun and meaningful to you, that's as good as it can get.
I guess there was a dream I could be in Hollywood someday making a James Bond movie. This is better than that. To me, this is better than that. And that's the realization I've come to.
It's yours, and at the end of the day, it's like mom's home cooking. There's nothing else quite like it. We certainly appreciate all of your work, and we look forward to more. Do you think Jesus will come back one day?
Well, that's a good question. We do have a really good script for a sequel and a really good concept for a prequel.
Oh.
So the prequel idea, what I like about Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter, it's a kung fu action comedy horror musical about the second coming. And I thought, instead of doing another film where Jesus fights vampires, why don't we switch up the genre a bit? So instead of making a kung fu movie with Jesus Christ in it, why don't we make a war movie?
Oh.
And so the concept for the prequel is called Jesus Christ Platoon Leader, and it's set during the Vietnam War. The movie opens up and Jesus is at the Dominion Tavern, they're drinking, and someone comes up to him and is like, "Oh, look, it's the second coming." And he says, "Actually, I'm like the third coming. There was a second coming during the Vietnam War." So there's a flashback, and we go to Vietnam with Jesus. I really like that idea, and I hope to get to make it someday. But I'm making this. I'm concentrating on drag queens right now. I have my next movie in mind, which is not Jesus Christ, but who knows? The sequel is really good too. It's called Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter 2: Roman Holiday, and this one does involve the vampires. It's that in this film, the lesbian vampires invent a time machine, and they travel back to 0 AD. And their big plan is to take over the Roman Empire and not crucify Jesus, but cremate him so he can't rise again and open the pearly gates. So Jesus has to go back in time and save himself from the Roman Empire, who are now all lesbian vampires. That one's a pretty big movie. The script is like 500 pages. We need to really dumb it down. But it's a really fun to read. Ian wrote it, and who knows? Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter is, my new movie. I'm world building a little bit, so there are characters from Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter in this new movie. Let me just say that the bowl of cherries, the cherries Jubilee, makes a cameo in the new movie.
So this is all part of the Demarbre-verse, right?
Yes. Let me tell you a funny story that Phil told me the other day. I go drinking once and twice a week with Phil, who plays Jesus Christ. He told me a funny story the other day that I can share with you that no one's really heard. He was grocery shopping in a supermarket here in Ottawa by himself. He was by himself in a supermarket, and he saw Cherry's Jubilee in the freezer. And he saw it, and he looked at it. He opened the door, and he said in public, "Dad?" And he said it out loud, and he looked around like, okay, thank God no one's looking. So Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter 2 happened last week in a supermarket by himself.
Wow, that's great. That's fantastic. Well, we certainly love to hear about all your stories making Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter. We look forward to Enter the Dragon. We love this absurdist, action-packed world that you've shared with us, and we hope to see 1,000 more films from you, Lee, going forward. I hope you have a happy Easter.
Thank you for saying all those things. All those things mean a great deal to me. Thank you. Happy Easter to you guys. I hope everyone loves the movie as much as I love talking about it 20 years later.
You're not dreaming. You're watching Cinema Insomnia's Easter Eggstravaganza. I'm your horror host, Mr. Lobo. We hope you enjoyed tonight's intermission. Most holy indeed. Let's see what the good book, or the Horror Host Bible, John Stanley's Creature Features Movie Guide, has to say about tonight's feature. Turn the J's. Owie. That explains it. Thanks, John. Maybe we'll get a little more detail from this data disc that Mr. Lobo got in his Easter basket. Quite simply, make sure you got the arrow up and insert it like so. As made obvious by the acting in this film, there is a world shortage of thespians. What's that, Miss Mittens? Not thespians. Oh, well, that makes a lot more sense. These night creatures can live in the daylight when their victim's skin is grafted to their undead bodies by a mad doctor who is also the lead singer of Offspring. Pretty fly for a bite guy. Mary Magnum, in a pleather jumpsuit, and Jesus, who looks like he works at Tower Records, inconspicuously follow the vampires in broad daylight on a dirt bike. Miss Magnum, who kind of fancies the vampire queen, gets bit, and our savior is beat down by a Batman with a Superman shirt on a rooftop and left for dead. And now, let's dig in to the second half of the film that some call the Catholic Church's answer to Repo Man. Just don't call it a cult film. Jesus Christ! Vampire Hunter in Bunny-O-Vision.
And when you have lived in this empty house long enough, a question will arise within you. This same question that a certain lawyer asked of our Lord in Luke 10:30. Who is my neighbor?
Sorry, mate. My compassion ended at 6 p.m.
Oh, Fifi, look! Oh!
Oh, Jesus, Connie, you're a mess.
How did you know my name?
You're a stranger to me, but the stranger that I am. It's strange what you see when you look through strangers' eyes. You've got that look in your eyes, like you grew up on your own, different, apart, and feeling alone. I know how it feels when there's something inside, something too queer to show, but too real to hide. Good night, sweet prince.
I'll be back with your dessert in a minute.
Excuse me, I didn't order.
Jesus.
Is that you, bowl of cherries?
Do bowls of cherries talk? Jesus?
I don't know. I've seen a lot of strange things over the years.
You need help, Jesus, and I have not forsaken you.
Oh, it's you, Dad. So what's your advice?
Seek out the saint of the wrestling ring, son. He will stand alongside you. And call your mom. She misses you.
Ugh. Mr. Lobo's bowl of cherries is starting to talk to him too. Might be lactose intolerant. I hope not. Jesus teaches us to be tolerant. But how can we be tolerant if we can't tolerate intolerance? But on the other hand, how can we be tolerant if we're not intolerant to intolerance? Oh dear. Another paradox. And speaking of paradox, Dr. Martens are the shoe of choice for both anarchists, radical punks, and even countercultural bootlickers. Cinema Insomnia will be right back after these words of wisdom from our almighty sponsors.
There are no boundaries. I can do what I want. I think that's tough.
Man's tough, with a punk spirit, you know?
I do me for me.
And we don't care if you're listening.
I'm out here for me, whoever I choose to be.
Watch out. This summer's going to be crazy, delirious.
Besides the bloody Canadian mosquitoes, right? Almost lost a leg when I went camping, and camping, what's the point of that, eh?
Mysterious.
It's cactus
ice cream for your roids.
Bizarre.
Good morning, Stanley. Have you had your breakfast?
Psychotropic. It's going to be the summer of hot knives.
You want it hot?
Yeah, hot. Red hot.
Starring Phil Caracas.
I'm extremely trashed. Or hammered.
He's a Stan on a mission.
It's not Dalhousie. It's Dalhousie. You know, like floozy from Dalhousie.
In a modern day slacker odyssey.
So we're gonna have like these really cool drinks. Heavy.
So prepare yourself.
I got it.
Hold on to your hats. It's going to be a wild ride, baby.
I like hockey shot. This is fantastic. Who's your riot?
Oh,
How are you and Tootsie doing today?
this is big. This is bigger than all of us. It's going to blow the lid off of this town.
You f***ing asshole. Jesus Christ.
Hot ride.
Oh, greetings. And speaking of worshiping heavenly bodies, the sin of lust and misguided devotion, it's now time for our lucky Reel 7 girl.
Lucky.
The girl chosen by you, the loyal Insomniacs out there, to introduce the next reel of tonight's film and hopefully boost ratings with thespians aged 18 to 24 in the third quarter of our program. Tell us a little bit about yourself, lucky Reel 7 girl.
This is going to happen every time I make a Grab Dash delivery. I call myself Countess Bloodsugar, ex-girlfriend of the night.
You still work at the Whole Foods, right?
Yes.
Now, you agreed to come back because you wanted to clear some things up about thespians.
Right. There are lots of misconceptions about thespians. I have to deal with these stereotypes. It pisses me off so much that I can't always say what needs to be said in the moment.
You're an actress? I thought you were a vampire.
First of all, not all thespians hate men.
You don't?
Actually, I do, but not all thespians do. That's my point. I had a male drama teacher. I heard he was very well liked. People also think that being an actor is easier than being in the audience because all actors understand each other. I don't even understand myself.
I can hardly understand you right now.
See?
Oh, I got one. Thespians are usually extremely butch or really feminine.
No, of course not, you ignorant ass. Actors are just like everybody else, only more so. They say if you're an actor, you have daddy issues or you were exposed to drama as a child. I didn't read my first play until I was 24. And they say if you're an actor, you've never had a real job. I have 5 jobs and I'm performing in 2 plays and they still treat me like a deadbeat.
An actor's second date is renting a U-Haul.
I hate those jokes. And lots of serious actors wear sexy lingerie, not just models. And finally, it's not just a phase.
Yes, indeed. Today's Dolores Fuller may be tomorrow's Glenn Close with a shelf full of Oscars. But how do I explain the kissing scenes in tonight's movie?
They're just actors, like everyone else in the film. Nobody really dies either.
Huh. Fair enough. All right. You've convinced Mr. Lobo. I'm going to be nicer to actors from now on. Do you want to just go ahead and give the introduction a read-through?
And now, Cinema Insomnia is proud to present Reel 7 of Jesus Christ, Vampire Hunter.
Yeah, you almost got it. Could you read through it one more time? We'll fix it in post.
Santo è venuto.
Santo, over here, just one photo.
Any truth to the rumors that you're coming out of retirement? Any words for your fans? What do you think about the state of professional wrestling today, El Santo?
Any comment on the allegations that you've had a falling out with the Aztec mummy, El Santo? No comment. I have no comment. Please direct your questions to Ms. Oddbob. Could you step aside to get a photo of El Santo? Make sure you get my good side, or you'll get on my bad side. Thanks a bunch. Now there's my front page.
I've been a fan of your flying plancha takedown for years, Santo. It's an honor to finally meet you.
The pleasure is all mine. I apologize for the reporters. They are harder to escape than the Blue Demon's Cobra Clutch. Santos, over here, chum. I've got a car waiting. Madre de Dios, my old manager. Don't let this gringo con you, Jesus. He'll have you wrestling midgets in border towns for 10% of the net. Danny, amigo.
Santos, you've got to see this new act I'm managing. Stop by tonight and we'll talk a little business.
Gracias, Danny. I know why you're here, my savior. I've chosen to call myself a saint, and as such, I am your servant. To you, my lord, my face is forever naked. Now tell me, you have found a place to begin our investigation, see?
Hey man, watch it. You're getting all in the Kool-Aid, and you don't even know the flavor.
I know you know Johnny Golgotha. Tell me where he is.
Hey, I'm as close as 99 is to 100 to Johnny and his crew. But I don't know you from Adam, madam.
You can save lives. You have to tell us where he is, for the sake of your soul, if nothing else.
Yeah, tell that to a one-legged man so we can bump it off down the road, Jack. Okay, I call it the jive. You the boss, Dick. Say I cop. Then I'd be cleaner than the Board of Health, right?
If you're truly repentant.
Okay then, man, okay. Lay up. I know you want that gray boy bad, but hustlers don't call showdowns, dig? Johnny and his main mellow are out of town today. There ain't nothing shaking till tomorrow morning, down at the point.
Don't tempt me.
What's good for the gander is not always good for the goose. What may look like harassment is actually a supernatural phenomenon called the gluteus magnetomaximoff effect. Santos' assistant, Mrs. Oddbottom's posterior, actually has a gravitational pull that no human hand can resist, especially if you wear rings, a diving watch, a seashell necklace, or other jewelry. Warning, do not try this at home. Mr. Lobo remembers back in the 60s on the set of the old show, Insomniac Theater, Babs from the front desk slapped a gropey crew member's face so hard that he flipped into the next parallel universe. He sits on his own hands now. And speaking of pathetic grabs, Cinema Insomnia will be right back.
I'm always coming up with great new promotions for 7-Up. Like this one. I ask people to send me pictures of their cans. Let's take a look. Whoa! Look like two big Christmas hams. It shows you can. Look at the backyard on this fella. That about ends the first annual 7-Up Show It Sure Can contest. Next time I'll be more specific. Mom?
When Dana Marges didn't make it as an actor,
I'm having a herpes outbreak, but you never know it.
he became passionate about teaching.
Theater has the power to transform the audience.
And discovered
I kicked this trash can.
he wasn't very good at that either.
Mr. Marks, could I have a minute?
The school board decided to cancel drama.
We need to save drama.
Put on a play, make it the best you've ever done.
I'm working on an original play.
What is your problem, man?
Hamlet 2? Doesn't everybody die at the end of the first one?
I have a device.
The time machine opens, revealing Hamlet and Jesus!
Good luck. Thanks, Jesus. You got my cell number?
Yeah.
Okay.
What's really going on here?
Jesus is sexy to you, which leads us on to the musical interlude, Rock Me Sexy Jesus.
Nos vamos al infierno por esta madre.
Steve Coogan, Catherine Keener, David Arquette, Hamlet 2.
It was dramatic. It was visual. It was stupid. It was stupid, but it was also theater.
Just going through our ill-gotten, nerdy, cool goodies in our Easter basket. A couple of self-absorbed selfie bunnies, just in case you ever wanted to bite the head off a hipster. Speaking of hipsters, every alternative type in Ottawa came together to make this next scene in the Dominion Tavern. A bold choice to have the wide city shot after establishing the front door. Just so you know, the bar is still in the city, I guess. And playing in this hive of scum and villainy is that black-eyed blues brother of the frozen north, blind Jimmy Lepper, performing his famous brand of scat, jazz, bebop, Max Rebo jizzwailing. In the next reel of Jesus Christ, Pub Crawler. What do you want for nothing? Rubber biscuit? Bow, hair, but a hair, but a hair, but telling you, don't a ham, but a ham, but a hair, but a.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Dominion Tavern. There's a lot of beautiful faces in the house tonight, but the man you're here to see can't see you. So make some noise for Mr. Blind Jimmy Lepper!
Thank you very much, thank you.
Hey, me money not true, bop bop doop beep boop doop bop bow. Hey bop, re bop, re bop 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 bop. Shop the little bop 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 doop bop bow. Obi 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 wan can obi 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 wan can obi wow. Bop bop bip bop bop beep 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 bop bop. Beep 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 bop 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 doop bop bow. Oh yo oh doop oh well the little bop doop bop doop bop doop bop doop bop oh, you quickly look to the back to the
Jesus, I'm afraid I must confess the sin of lust.
Don't worry, Santos. He forgives all.
Thank you. I've sort of been told we got a very special person in the audience there tonight. Without which there'd be no soul for the brothers. So, sort of like, put your hands together, raise your hands for our Lord and our Savior, Jesus Christ. One, two, uno, tres. I was born in a manger. Doomed to live in danger. Met Mary Magdalene, had to rearrange her, yeah.
Sudden, but I've learned from my many years of experience in the ring to strike when the opportunity arises. What I'm trying to say is, you have pinned my heart to the mat, and I think I love you.
Where is everybody?
They split, baby.
And now it's time for the Easter edition of our Insomniac mail sack. Happy Halloween! Guess we should have got to this one a little sooner. Oh, it goes like this. Happy 50th birthday, Mr. Lobo, to Mr. Lobo from Caleb. Okay. Dear Mr. Lobo, my name is Caleb. I live in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I'm 24 years old, and I'll be turning 25 years old on December 1st. Thanks for being my friend on Facebook. I hope that you're continuing to stay safe from chronic diarrhea, just like me. I'm a huge fan of your work on Cinema Insomnia. Thank you. What got you into acting? This is acting? How did you get into wrestling? Oh, Mr. Lobo was never into wrestling. I just was insulted by a wrestler on stage, and it made the news somehow. I'm currently looking into becoming a TV horror host. Oh, come now, really, Caleb, stay in school. As Count Caleb. Oh, I like that. Very clever. Or Caleb the Impaler. Okay, I could see that working too. On public access, I would like a free autograph of you, and that's very astute. You don't want to spend your money foolishly. And Robot Monster. Her name is Romana. As to Caleb, good luck, Mr. Lobo. I can wish you something better than luck. I'm going to wish success for you, Caleb, in your endeavor as a horror host. Let's see here. Mailed to my house. I hope you'll have a wonderful 50th birthday on November 27th. Yes, that was a ways back there. Boy, we really should have got to this sooner. I'm sorry, Caleb. I hope that you have a safe Halloween this year. Let's hope that we all have a safe Halloween. I'm looking forward to hearing back from Ye. Oh, back from Ya, maybe. Very informal. Yours truly, Caleb. P.S. I hope that you'll love this card and the artwork I've added. Well, you don't have to hope, because I do love this card and the artwork. So thank you very much, Caleb, and good luck in your endeavor in being a horror host. I'm sure you'll do a much better job than Mr. Lobo. Cinema Insomnia. We'll be right back.
It's 106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it. They're not gonna catch us. We're on a mission from God.
You just tell us where they are, and there'll be no trouble.
Use of unnecessary violence in the apprehension of the Blues Brothers has been approved.
Are you the police?
No, ma'am. We're musicians.
Hey, Dudley Rabbit here. Easter's almost here, so hurry up with those eggs.
Hi, I'm Clara Clucker. Dudley asked me to tell all you moms about his new improved shaken egg. It makes Easter eggs that are downright egg-siding. Get it? Well, come on, Mom, I'll show you. Just pour Dudley's dazzling new dye mix into the shaker bag. Now dip a hard-boiled egg in warm water, put it in the bag, and just shake away. Oh, isn't that fun? Oh, and here's what's new. Dudley's new formula dyes and dries instantly, right in the bag. Have you ever seen such wonderful colors? So, Mom, take it from me, Clara Clucker, and this year get Dudley's own Shake and Egg, the better-than-ever way to color Easter eggs. And look for Clara Clucker's Happy Easter Egg, the colorful giant blow-up egg with pictures of me and all my Easter friends at fine stores everywhere.
Chicks and rabbits. This is just a malformed circus peanut. Shame on you, Brox. Spoilers, in the next reel, a trusted ally suddenly shows up a vampire. I feel like they just needed more vampires that day when they were filming. They smeared him with clown white and just threw him back out there. That's the problem when you film with a bunch of scenesters. When the beer runs out, nobody shows up. Let's sift through the rubble of this next pile of fun that we like to call Jesus Christ, Junkyard Wrestler.
Hello, son. I was just wanting to check up on you. Are you keeping busy then, dear?
Yeah, Mom. I'm trying to help some lesbians.
Oh, God love them. They get so much done in a day, don't you think?
Yeah, listen, I really have to go. These vampires
Now you're not letting those boys push you around, are you? They might seem bigger than you now, but who do we always say is going to inherit the earth, dear?
The meek, Mom.
That's right, love. Now don't let me keep you. You go on now.
Okay, Mom. Talk to you later. I love you. Hey.
We have your friend Santo on the ropes. Unless you want to see him go down for the count, I suggest you deliver yourself to us.
If you would heal your woes and prolong your life, look not here at this pharmacy of human vanity, but here recall ye the words of the Messiah as they are spoken in Luke 4:23. Physician, heal thyself.
Time for revelation, my lord. Done anything that they haven't, my lord. You rose from the dead, so did they. You promised eternal life, so did they. But they offer so much more power.
I really wish we'd had the time to invite more people, Jesus. It's not every day a guy gets a chance to commit deicide. Sacrifice is your thing, isn't it?
I think you need to go back to Sunday school. My death was never the end of the story.
Let's get this over with.
Any last words, Jesus?
No? I've got a question, though. Why lesbians?
They're deviants. No one will miss them.
There's nothing deviant about love.
Ha! Good one. The truth is as bitter as garlic to them. Here, Jesus. You'll need this to kill that jackrabbit albino son of a bitch.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is incredible!
But you're at the wrecking yard! On TV live!
I'm everywhere. And on the seventh day, he rested.
This movie just kicked Mr. Lobo in the face. He really is everywhere. Cinema Insomnia. We'll be right back.
Here's a beer you gotta try, a beer so bold and true. And when you know who drinks this beer, you'll want to drink it too. Jesus beer.
Table for 13, please. This is my body. This is my blood. And this is my beer.
The king of kings of beer.
From a guy who washed away your sins comes a beer to wash away your thirst.
Jesus beer.
Jesus Christ, that's good beer.
Jesus beer.
His exploits are legend from the Gulf of Mexico to Hudson Bay.
Wait a minute, that's no rod jockey. That's Harry Knuckles.
It smells like fish, tastes like bane.
I know who you are.
Your brother, none other. Shine on, you crazy moonbeams!
Hey, cool kids! Mr. Lobo is back with more Cinema Insomnia. It's time to put on your headphones and get ready to bang your head as we turn Reel 10 up to 11 with the 90s alternative rock answer to biblical epics and Jackie Chan films, Jesus Christ, Foo Fighter.
Yeah! Yeah!
Not even this separates you from my love.
My lord, no! My love cannot heal this woman, my lord. But perhaps yours can. Will you try?
Her soul is in jeopardy, Santos. Just as millennia balance on the sliver of time between the ticks of a clock, so does her soul now stand balanced on a precipice between the unending light of heaven and the undying fires of hell. I can work this miracle, Santos. Through you, and through your love for Maggie. Are you ready to live up to your name? Remove her mask!
Santo ha venido.
Rabbi, where's Maxine?
Maxine? Maxine Shrek?
Rabbi, I owe you so much already. The peace in my soul. Maxine. She brings me a joy that I never thought possible here on Earth. I was wondering, could you?
Yeah, sure. Okay.
But Maggie, aren't you a lesbian?
No, I'm bi.
Yes! Yes! Ha ha! Yes! Yes! Yeah! Right! Woohoo!
Bi? Does that mean that she speaks Spanish? Well, good for you, El Santo. Now you can talk about all sorts of... What? Oh. Oh, I thought she meant bilingual. Oh. Well, that makes a lot more sense. Wow, Miss Mittens, you are so hep. When are dendrophiliacs going to be accepted by society? That's what Mr. Lobo wants to know. Oh well. Cinema Insomnia will be right back.
In the tradition of the great Bible epics.
It's just, like no other role I've done.
Jesus Christ!
Yes.
So the disciples to the set. Let's go. Hurry it up. Is that it? Is that all we had?
That's what you ordered. You ordered 8. We got 8.
I think there's more than 8. How many disciples did Jesus have?
It's an all-time bestseller. What we're talking here is a 4 billion person target audience times $7 a ticket. That's quite a market. We need a few more investors. This is a very rough cut, what you're about to see.
Isn't paradise wonderful?
Yes, it is.
They were all with me. I'm the one that had the dough.
Action. Why is he carrying a six-pack? Moses cannot come down off the plateau carrying a six-pack of Coke.
It's an epic with class.
Is that why we can't wear our tops?
The good news is that the studios don't even want the film anymore.
I got no money to give you. Check under his mattress. He's got money.
We're getting to the bottom of our Easter basket. This is a magical Easter unicorn. Hollow birthday cake flavor for all your hollow birthdays. Should have eaten this during the mail sack. You want to find out what your unicorn's name is? You take the first letter of your first name. Okay, that's Mr. M. And the month you were born, November. All right, so my unicorn's name is Magical Sunshine Dream. If that doesn't rot your teeth out, nothing will. We're reaching the end of the lesson. It's almost time to get the flock out of here. I hope we don't see that crazy preacher narrator again. I mean, one lunatic in a dark suit molesting foliage is enough. Did I say that out loud? Sorry, Miss Mittens. Anyway, and now the merciful conclusion to Jesus Christ, Park Ranger.
But the end of all things is drawn nigh. Be sober, therefore, and watchful unto prayers. But before all things, having fervent love amongst yourselves, because love covers a multitude of sins. Beloved, take not as strange the fire of persecution which has taken place amongst you, as if something strange was happening to you. But as ye have share in the sufferings of Christ, rejoice, then in the revelation of his glory also ye may rejoice with exultation.
Back when I was hanging out with the apostles, we had a saying, if you can bear the whole yoke of the Lord, you'll be perfect. But if you can't, then do what you can. I don't want you to accept anything just because I say it. Think about it. Make up your own mind. And if you choose Christianity, don't follow me. Follow my teachings. It's the message that's important, not the messenger. Hello. Hey, JP. I can't talk right now. I'm in the middle of something. Yeah, okay, I will later. Listen, you don't need me to tell you these things. I'm not here to give you new laws. I'm just telling you what you already know. I'm the part of you that feels bad when you don't give that homeless guy your spare change. You know what's right. Trust yourselves. Learn to love. Learn to forgive. And remember, 5 keeps a neighborhood alive.
It's all good, it's all right. Everybody gets paid. Tonight he came from heaven, 2 sticks in his hand, to smoke the vampires and free the land. Come now and join him, all ye strong and bold. We'll fight together
inspiring. It's like the season finale of Kung Fu, The Legend Continues. What did you think of tonight's film, Easter Bunny? Wait a second. Is that Cogorella in there? Cogorella. I thought it was you. You know, the real Peter Cottontail went rogue after the All Saints Squadron broke up. Anyway, long story. Looks like Cogorella and I have some family business to take care of. No, we cannot dye Easter eggs. You remember what a horrid mess it was last time? You have to boil them first? Golly, that changes everything. All right, hold that thought. Let's finish up here. Happy Easter, and thanks for watching Cinema Insomnia. We learned a lot about each other today, haven't we, Insomniacs? We learned that love is love. Whether it's rabbit, chicken, rainbow egg making love, or vampire major artery love, or consensual plant horror host love, or wrestlers who love wrestling, thespians who love the performing arts. And of course, we love our friends who are LGBTQIA+. Heck, everyone's welcome, A through Z, and all the other letters that we haven't yet discovered on the spectrum. The important thing is to not be an Jesus reminds us in his teachings that the geeks shall inherit the earth. You can read more about Jesus Christ, El Santo, the Easter Bunny, and lesbians in this book. It's called the Bible, and it's available wherever good books are sold. Remember,
it takes 5 to keep the neighborhood alive.
It's all